are all broader terms. Means acid is a family of compound, base is a family of compound, similarly salt is a family of compound. In our daily life we generally say that sodium chloride or salt refers to the common salt, but salt does not mean only NaCl or sodium chloride. In fact, it is a family of a number of compounds. So today we will start on this chapter. Now before starting we need to go through some basic concepts or some basic theories on the basis of which we will build our further concepts. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about, first we will discuss about ionizable and non-ionizable compounds. Later on we will discuss what are acid and bases. And on the basis of means to answer this question, different scientists put up their different theories. For example, Arrhenius theory was there, and afterwards Bronsted-Lowry theory. Means these two scientists gave their results on the basis of the experiments or whatever observations they made. After that, we will have a discussion. We will have a discussion over physical test, that is the identification method of acid and bases. In that, we will have a discussion on the basis of test, what is the test of acid and what is the test of base. Later on, we will have a discussion on indicators. So now I am going to start with the very first topic, that is ionizable and non-ionizable compound. So the word ionizable, in fact it becomes very clear that it is derived from ion, and we all know that ions are positively or negatively charged species. So basically ionizable compounds are those compounds which when dissolved in water, ionizable compounds are those compounds which when dissolved in water or in molten state they get dissociated into their respective ions. For example, NaCl, HCl. So we all know that NaCl is made from two ions, that is Na plus and Cl minus. Similarly, this HCl is H plus and Cl minus. So when I am going to dissolve this NaCl in water, when I am going to dissolve this HCl in water, they will dissociate into Na plus and Cl minus, H plus and Cl minus. If you want to prove that this NaCl used to get dissociated into water, then you can take example of distilled water. Means when we all know that distilled water is a very good insulator, and when we add salt solution or HCl, and later on if we are going to test the conduction, means one side if we connect the wire, means if we suppose taking that distilled water with NaCl as a switch, then obviously if you are going to connect the two terminals of a battery, if you are going to connect, for example, suppose this is our bulb, this is the battery we are having, and this is the reservoir terminals in our distilled water plus NaCl solution. So when the water will be distilled only, when this solution consists of only distilled water, then obviously the bulb will not glow, indicating that distilled water is a good insulator, and that is a well-known fact. And as soon as we add NaCl in that, this bulb will start glowing, representing that though NaCl is a neutral compound, means in its ionic state, or I should say sodium chloride itself is a neutral compound, but when as soon as it is dissolved in water, it gets dissociated into Na plus and Cl minus ions. Therefore, ionizable compounds are those compounds which when added in water or in their molten state, they get dissociated into their respective ions. Molten state means when we increase the temperature of given compound NaCl. After that, non-ionizable compounds, that is the just opposite of what we studied in case of non-ionizable compounds are those compounds which when dissolved in water or in their molten state do not, that is when they are dissolved in water or in their molten state they do not break or they do not dissociate, and best example is glucose, acetone, and you know that formula glucose is C6H12O6. Okay, so these are the basic examples of ionizable and non-ionizable compound. Now coming to the next topic, what are acid and bases? So this is a very important question before we start our chapter. Means this is just a basic short of introduction to what we are going to discuss in detail. So there are two theories which define our acid and base, that was given by Arrhenius, and it is known as the Arrhenius theory, and the theory which was proposed by Bronsted-Lowry, that was known as Bronsted and Lowry. Bronsted and Lowry, these were two different. Okay, so in Arrhenius theory defines acid as a substance which gives H plus or hydronium ions. I am again repeating. Arrhenius theory says that acid is a substance which gives H plus or hydronium ion when it is dissolved in water. Okay. For example, HCl, H2SO4, HNO3. These are the example of Arrhenius acid. Because when HCl is dissolved in water, then it forms H plus Cl minus. And as we have just studied, that is an example of ionizable compound. Therefore, when it is dissolved in water, it will break into H plus and Cl minus. H2SO4 similarly will have this is having tendency to give two H plus ions. Similarly, HNO3. So all these three, HCl, H2SO4, that is hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid and nitric acid. So all these three compounds are having tendency to give H plus or hydronium ion when they are being dissolved in water. Now what is hydronium ion? Hydronium ion is nothing but when this H plus which is being released from acid, this H plus which is being released from acid, when this is made to combine with water, it forms hydronium ion. This is the hydronium ion. Okay. So this H plus combined with our neutral H2 to form H2O plus, that is hydronium ion. Similarly, what is Arrhenius base? According to Arrhenius, he said that bases are those compounds or bases are those substances which gives OH minus ion when they are dissolved in water. For example, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide. So when you dissolve this NaOH, in water, that is if you take that solution, then that will dissociate into 20% OH minus ions. So we define base, Arrhenius base, as a substance which gives OH minus ion in water. So if we just recap what we just studied now, Arrhenius acid is a substance which gives H plus or hydronium ion, and Arrhenius base is a substance which gives OH minus ion in water when they are dissolved in water. After that, the next theory was given by Bronsted and Lowry. According to them, Bronsted-Lowry says that according to Bronsted, acid is a substance which is H plus donor. Bronsted-Lowry means Bronsted acid. Means acid and base, there is no such compound called Bronsted acid or Bronsted base. Means on the basis of their proposed theories, I am saying that. For example, Arrhenius proposed, according to Arrhenius definition, whatever compounds which are categorized in as acid, they are called as Arrhenius acid, and similarly bases are called as Arrhenius base. Similarly, Bronsted said that Bronsted acid, that is acid is a substance which is H plus donor, and base is a substance which is H plus acceptor. Means all the substances, if they are categorized into acid, then they will donate H plus, and if that substance is a base, then that will accept H plus. For example, if you see here HCl, when this HCl gas is made to react with ammonia, then that is forming ammonium ion and Cl minus. So here H plus HCl is your Bronsted acid, and this Cl minus is called as its conjugate acid. Means HCl after losing its H plus or after donating its H plus, it forms Cl minus. Therefore, HCl is our Bronsted acid. And this is the corresponding conjugate acid. Similarly, this H plus which is being donated by HCl, donated by HCl is being accepted by NH3, that is ammonia. Therefore, NH3 is our conjugate base. Therefore, this ammonia is our Bronsted base. And similarly, this NH4 plus, this ammonium ion is our conjugate base. So here two things we learned: Bronsted acid and its conjugate acid, Bronsted base and conjugate base. So Bronsted acid is those substances or those compounds which have capacity or which have tendency to donate H plus ions, and Bronsted base is a substance which has tendency to accept that H plus ions. On the basis of, now the substance which is losing its H plus, that is called as Bronsted acid, and the corresponding substance which is formed after losing that H plus is called as its conjugate acid. Similarly, the base or the substance which accept that H plus is called as ammonium. Here in this case that is ammonium, and that is called as Bronsted base, and which after accepting that becomes conjugate base. Now coming to the next topic, that is physical test. Physical tests are nothing but the way to identify acid and bases. That are physical way, or I should say these are the laboratory method through which you can easily identify or differentiate between acid and bases. Now there are two methods. There are two categories under this physical test. First is on the basis of test. However, this on the basis of test, it is not advisable to do physically, because I was telling that on the basis of test, but on the basis of test, this test is not advisable to do at your home, because there are certain acids which are corrosive, and there are certain some weak acid totally that can be tested with we can test weak acid, for example, all the organic acid, either it is acetic acid or it is your citric acid. So these are all we can easily taste. But if we say HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, then obviously we are not going to test this, because they are very corrosive in nature. Therefore, if we classify acid and bases on the basis of test, then they are classified into two parts. Acid are those substances which are having sour taste. So that is acid. Best example you can take, for example, is lemon, that contains citric acid. And bases are the substances which are having bitter taste. So these are the taste of acid and bases. That is, acid is having sour taste and bases are having bitter taste. Now coming to the next way of identification, that is on the basis of indicators. And this is very important from exam point of view, because very small question or very 1 or 2 marks questions are being asked frequently from this section. Now before going to discuss indicator in detail, so if you talk about indicators, then they are basically of two types: natural indicator and man-made or artificial. Now in this natural, there are number of things which used to come under this natural indicator. Actually, what indicator is? Indicator simply means they used to change their color. Means whenever, suppose I have taken acid in a test tube, and if I am going to put small drops of indicator in that, then they will change either its color or means that will shows the presence of acid or base with a particular color. For example, we will study the different colors in this section. Natural, if we talk about natural indicators that are easily obtained from living organisms or from our nearby surrounding, then litmus is the very best example. It is obtained from lichen. And litmus and lichen, we all know that is a symbiotic association of your fungus and algae. So litmus is obtained from lichen, that comes under your Thallophyta kingdom. Now this litmus is having purple color, means the original color of litmus is purple. The original color of litmus is purple. When this litmus solution is made to get with acid, means suppose this is litmus plus acid. This litmus which was purple in color, as soon as we add acid, this acid, due to presence of that acid, this purple color will get transformed into red color. So you can clearly see that when I am going to put this litmus solution in acid, then that gets converted, that changes its color from purple to red. Similarly, when I will add this litmus into a base, then it will change its color into blue. So you can clearly identify that, for example, if somebody gave you unknown compound in a test tube and he says that identify whether it is acid or base, and he is giving you litmus solution. So what you will do? You will just add 2 or 3 drops of litmus solution in that. If that litmus solution, that purple color changes into red, then that will be acid, and if that changes into blue, then that will be a base. So that was about your natural indicator, that was litmus. Some other natural substances, for example, red cabbage leaves, and turmeric, turmeric powder, that is commonly available in our kitchen. So these means some more examples are there, but basically these are the substances which can these are the things which can easily obtain from our surroundings. For example, if we talk about turmeric, if by chance while having dinner or while having lunch, if by chance the food means that falls over your clothes, then while washing you might have observed that as soon as you put that washing bar over that contaminated area, over that area where that solution or that curry fell over your clothes, then we all know that the color of that curry is always approximately to be yellow. So as soon as you put washing bar over that yellow area, that will get converted into reddish yellow color. Showing means that shows the presence of base in your washing soda. So turmeric can also be used as your indicator. And which type of indicator it is? Natural indicator. Now coming to the man-made or artificial solution, artificial indicators. So basically these are of two types, that is methyl orange and second is your phenolphthalein. So if you talk about the methyl orange, then a neutral solution, if we take methyl orange neutral solution, then it is orange in color. Now as soon as we put this methyl orange in acidic solution, if you are going to put this, if you are going to just drop 2 or 3 drops of methyl orange in acidic color, then it changes its color into red. In acid it changes into red, and in base it becomes yellow. So keep in mind this respective color change. In case of litmus, when I was dropping 2 drops of litmus into acidic solution, then that was getting changed, that solution color got changed into red, and when it was base, then it changed into blue. Similarly for methyl orange, a neutral solution of methyl orange, that is the original color of methyl orange is orange in color, but as soon as you drop 2 or 3 drops of methyl orange in acidic solution, then it changes the color of the whole solution into red, and if it would be a basic solution, then the color of methyl orange will get changed into yellow. Similarly, if we talk about phenolphthalein, then it is colorless. Initially it is colorless. Initially means the original color of phenolphthalein is colorless, and when we add this phenolphthalein in acid, when we get phenolphthalein in acidic solution, then that remain colorless. Means original color of there is no such, means it is phenolphthalein is colorless. Now when we are going to add this phenolphthalein in acidic solution, then that will remain colorless. That identifies that says that okay, this solution is acidic. But as soon as we going if we are going to drop phenolphthalein in basic solution, then it converts into pink color. That shows that respective changes. So keep in mind what are the various change in color for acidic solution and basic solution. So here 3 things which you need to keep in mind: the respective change of litmus, respective change of methyl orange and respective changes of phenolphthalein. Litmus is originally purple in color. In acid it becomes red, in base it becomes blue. If we talk about methyl orange, initially or originally its original color is orange. When it is added in acidic solution, then it changes into red. When it is added in basic solution, it changes into yellow. And later on, this phenolphthalein, if we add phenolphthalein in acid, then it changes into means the original color is phenolphthalein. There is no color of phenolphthalein, that is, it is a colorless solution. And when we add this phenolphthalein in acid, it remains colorless. And when we add this phenolphthalein in base, it changes into pink. So today we end here. In our next class, we will discuss about the various properties of acid and bases, and we will also define